Currently, people are hunkering down and a few are even evacuating. Now, in developing news this morning, 2 firefighters have been caught in a house. They were there earlier last night, kind of looking at some flood damage when a slip came down on the property, collapsing the house. Now, one firefighter has been rescued, with one more still being looked for. In other news, the weather is worst up north, heading down the east coast, starting in Northland and finishing off in Hawke's Bay. Now, those weather warnings, they are seeing a lot of water and also flooding, extensive flooding in those areas in Hawke's Bay. 2 dams are being watched in Havelock North as they are overflowing. Now, residents are being advised to stay indoors and to restrict any movements outside.
Very big night for New Zealanders across the country, but particularly in the upper North Island. I want to acknowledge the situation that New Zealanders have been waking up to this morning. A lot of families displaced, a lot of homes without power, extensive damage done across the country. It will take us a wee while to get a handle on exactly what's happened. I want to acknowledge those families that are currently functioning without power and in some cases without communications. We'll be working as quickly as we can with the relevant agencies to make sure that we're getting the power back on, to make sure we're restoring communications as quickly as we possibly can. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the incredible work that's being done by our first responders around the country. Fire and emergency had an enormous number of call-outs last night, and I want to acknowledge that in many cases they were attended by volunteers. The volunteer response across the country has been a phenomenal one. We've seen community groups coming together to support their fellow Kiwis who have been in need, and I really want to thank them. I'm here today, this morning, at the Trust Stadium, where that is a good example of the sort of community-driven response that we are seeing. We're seeing the community coming together, volunteers, making sure that they are supporting people who have been displaced, supporting people who are in need. I had the opportunity to speak just before with some of the families from Muriwai who were evacuated in the middle of the night. They were indicating they had felt incredibly well supported through that process. Obviously a very traumatic thing to happen in the middle of the night, and they have been very well supported here and throughout the response. And we'll continue to work with those community groups to make sure that we're providing them with as much support as we can so that they can provide support to the communities that have been affected.